Brother Volney McFarlin.
Junior.
Let me see if I got this straight. You were initiated at Beta Zeta.
Correct.
That's Florida A&M.
No, Alabama State.
Alabama State. See, that's why I ask these things. Okay, at Alabama State in 1959.
Correct.
You were born 1935.
Correct.
Okay, tell me, what was it like back in '59? What drew you to Kappa Alpha Psi?
Well, they sent out invitations. I got out of the service in 1956. I finished high school when I was 16, and that summer I turned 17, and my parents had to sign, and I joined the Air Force. So I was in the Air Force for 4 years, and when I got out in '56, I went to Florida A&M. So I was there for 2 years, and I met my wife, I think in Christmas, somewhere around there. She was teaching over in Bainbridge, Georgia. And so I got married that Christmas. At the end of my sophomore year, I moved to Montgomery.
Okay.
So I entered into Alabama State, and so they sent out questionnaires and all, who were interested in Kappa and what have you. So it was a group of fellows that I liked, and I was older than most of them, more mature. I had a house. I was living right by the campus. And so I got involved with the fraternity, and I've enjoyed it ever since.
Okay.
And so I, even got momentum with the things that I from my pledge class. And,
Really?
oh yes, I got the whole 9 yards. This is our book. I got my list of who.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wow. Hold on. I gotta open this up and hold on. Man, you got this all the way back from 19. 1959. Good brother. So let's back up for a minute.
Okay.
Let's back up for a minute. Let me rearrange my camera here. Back up for a minute. So you said you spent 12 years in the Air Force.
No, 4.
4 years in the Air Force.
Got out. I was just turned 21 when I got out. And so I went to Florida A&M. I was there for 2 years, and when I got married, my wife was teaching in Montgomery, so I moved to Montgomery.
Okay.
So I was there for 2 years, and I was in the Air Force Reserve or what have you while I was there. And so when I finished school and all, my wife and I, we sought to find places that we wanted to leave Alabama and teach. And so I applied in Miami and Cincinnati, Denver, Colorado, what have you. But anyway, Cincinnati paid the most money. So we came up here on the train, and we interviewed and what have you. So my wife had taught the first grade, and so they offered her a job and told her they would give me a job, but they didn't give me a contract. And I told them, I said, I can't fool around and wait on you to do this. I said, well, you gave my wife a job. I want a contract right now myself. So they gave me a contract.
Okay.
So we went back to Montgomery and moved to Cincinnati. Well, the Board of Education found us an apartment. I was teaching at Rockdale Elementary, which we had the highest number of students, 1,300 students there. It was an all-black school.
Wow.
And so I was there, and then they transferred me to an integrated school. Well, integrated was I was the only teacher who was black at the time. This was at Lasanaville Elementary.
Okay.
And so I was there, and then about 5, 6 years, and I said, when I asked for a transfer, I said I wanted to be with an integrated student body. I said, you sent me from an all-black school to an all-white school. I want to be at an integrated. So they sent me to Clifton. And so I was there at Clifton, and then I went to school. A friend of mine, Ross Turco Jr., was going to be a principal at a school in the Appalachian area, and he asked me to come. So I went from there, and they closed that school down and went to High Knoll, and that's where I retired from.
Okay.
So my wife was teaching elementary. She was teaching first grade, and so we retired.
Okay,
I was active in the union, and so I was on the retirement committee. And every year, we would go up to Columbus, and they would give you a printout of what you could get and what
Right.
have you. So my wife had got angry that year. She said, "I'm retiring." I said, "Okay." So I bought her time, and then I bought my time, which was veteran. I only paid about $2,300.
Right.
Hers cost $10,000, so we paid that, and so we retired.
Mm-hmm.
And so the house was paid for. My cars were paid for.
Mm-hmm.
My son was at ORU, and then he was at UC law school. So
Mm-hmm.
we traveled. We went to Spain and spent a month, and we just traveled. We went on
Right.
cruises, and well, I always traveled. My son was the only child I had,
Uh-huh.
and so he was an easy person to travel with.
Right.
So we took him to Europe. We took
Okay.
him everywhere,
Okay.
and so that leads up that we just had a nice retirement. One of the successful thing was that all money went into the same pot. We never argued about money.
Mm-hmm.
If I told her, I said, I want to go with so and so, she said, when? If you want to go here, when? And so life was good, and
Mm-hmm.
so she died in the year 2000. Same year my son finished law school. He finished law school in May. She died on the 8th of June.
Okay.
So that up to that time, I met a friend, a lady who lives up in Dayton. She was a divorcee. And so we stuck up. She had her money and funds, and I had mine.
Mm-hmm.
So we went on cruises, and we went to to China for a month
Right.
with Tout, which is a very exclusive travel agency.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we had a good relationship.
Right.
She's developed Alzheimer's, and she's into that right now.
Okay.
But so that's where I am,
Okay.
And so I kept busy. Like I said, I played golf in a couple of leagues. I
Right.
went to Tai Chi at Maple Knoll. I went to line dance a couple of times a week or what have you. So I was active,
Right.
and,
Right.
And I was always traveling. We were always
Yeah.
my friend, and what have you.
Yeah.
So here I am, and so this year, my son's wife had a baby, so I'm a grandfather, a little girl.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And I was not able to go out to see him, because of the virus. And
Right.
also with my vertigo, I was going to therapy for that, which has improved somewhat.
Good.
So that's where I am.
Okay. So, what was it like to
Well,
be?
Montgomery King was still there, and the
Okay.
movement was going. The bus boycott was before I got there.
Okay.
But they were doing the sit-ins.
Okay.
And so the sit-ins started, and so I lived like I said, right across from the campus.
Uh-huh.
And so it was a church down there, and they had Ku Klux Klan surrounded the church with King
No.
that night and declared martial law in Montgomery.
Wow.
And sent the troops out there to get the people out of the church and what
Uh-huh.
have you. So my wife was teaching. So she could not vote because if she did, she'd lose her job. But I voted because I took the tests
Yes, sir.
and I passed. I had 10 questions to ask you.
Right.
My professor had the information, so I could vote. But anyway, when I got ready to get a job, they sent me to a black man, not the superintendent, and I didn't know or stupid. I probably knew I was supposed to pay him to get a job, you see. So I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So
Okay.
we decided to look elsewhere, and
Yeah.
so we came up here and got the jobs.
Uh-huh.
And when she went to resign, he said, well, why? The superintendent said, why are you resigning? She said, because my husband can't get a job.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we're going to give him a job. She said, but when? She said, we can't. So that's how we got
Right.
to Cincinnati, and that was in 1961.
What was it like to be in Cincinnati in the early 60s?
Early 60s, well, Reverend Shuttleworth moved here, and he had a church downtown. It was you know, it was different from Montgomery. I mean, you could go here or there and what have you. They built I-75 where most of the blacks live in the West End, and so they were moving up Reading Road, and they moved from there to Avondale and on to Bond Hill and on out to Rose Lawn and what have you, and they moved that tract up there.
Right.
Cincinnati was a lively place, had a lot of good jazz clubs, and they had a lot of decent restaurants, you know, what have you. Being in the profession, I didn't, you know, necessarily blunt anywhere. I had difficulty in trying to get a house. No lending. I was a FHA veteran,
Right.
and I had a job with the
Right.
board. I could not get a loan for my house.
Really?
Not one lending institution. They would take your $25 for registration fee and to turn you down
As a veteran.
as a veteran. So this house cost me $39,000.
Well, this nice house.
I bought the lot for $5,000. I had that, and then we had jobs,
Right.
and so I still couldn't get along. But anyway, frat brother of mine, Bill Chenault, who was on city council, what have you, but he was working for Prudential Insurance Company, and he said, Mac, he said, come down. Said Prudential is getting out of the business of lending money to homes, but I can get you this loan
Really?
before they close out. So I went to Bill, and he got my loan for me,
Right.
which was only like $27,000.
Okay.
My note on
Okay.
this house was $148 a
At
week.
least. Yeah.
And I have 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, a whole lounge area, a bar downstairs,
Right.
the whole 9 yards. But
It's a
anyway,
nice house.
yeah. So from there, you know, life went on. I got active in the fraternity. When I moved to Cincinnati, Bob Smith was the Pomar. He's dead. I have a list of fellows who were in Kings in the Corner and early members that'll have all that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got active in the fraternity. I was dean of pledgees. I was Pomar. I was on the house committee when we had a house at Beecher Street and all, which was really a nice
Right.
affair. You know, we'd have cocktail hour on Friday, and we would have all kinds of activities at the house, and you know, and all. What's the lawyer name from California? Who died?
Bradley.
Not Bradley. Not Bradley.
Not Tom Bradley.
Who got OJ off?
What's
Yeah.
I know.
Memorable occasion. He came to the frat house. UC had him to speak to the law school, and they gave a limousine and sent him out to our house on Beecher Street.
Right.
And he spoke to but he was such a gracious, nice guy. He shook hands with every person there, and it was I enjoyed meeting him, you know, so much, you know. I can't think of his name right off the bat right now myself.
Shapiro.
No, black guy, short. If the glove don't fit, you got to
Dream
quit.
Team. Yeah. Wait a second. I am Dream Team lawyer Robert Shapiro. Johnny Cochran.
Johnny Cochran.
Johnny Cochran. Yeah. So he came to the city.
Came to the city for UC, but he came over to the frat house and spent and there was so many brothers there. The place was hot. I mean, we had air conditioning. It was over 100 brothers. We had more brothers there because Cochran was coming to town. You know?
Right.
So he spoke, you know, what have you. He was soft-spoken, gracious little guy. You know, it was very amazing.
So this is during the day when the Cincinnati Alumni Chapter had a house.
We had a house.
And what kind of events took place at the house?
Well, we would have like happy hour on Friday. And we would have, it was a 3-story place, and we also had some undergrad brothers living there. We allowed them to
Really?
live. Oh, yeah, on the top floor. They lived there, you know. And so the house we had a pool table upstairs. And, you know, we had all kind of functions there.
Right.
You know, didn't have a dance or anything like that, or, you know.
Not that big, right.
It was, you know, mostly for the frat brothers. We had some affairs above and below.
Yeah, okay.
You know, but anyway, it was a nice affair. My brother Heisel, Fred Heisel, who worked for the city, gave us a loan like of $20,000, and he only wanted the interest paid each year. Well, we had the loan for about 6 or 7 years, and when he died, it was forgiven.
Wow.
And so the house we bought, it cost maybe about $39,000. It was 3-story brick building. It's still standing. I think somebody bought it and they made it into apartments, what have you.
Wow.
But it did a lot to flourish the fraternity.
Yeah.
Something that is not so much there. And so this is one of the things that I've striven to try to get them to do, and they don't want to go into that. I don't know why. But I think it would strengthen. And I look at all the different cities, Mobile, Michigan, Kansas City. They have their own houses. And even my hometown, I'm from Pensacola. We have a big frat house with a parking lot for 50 cars.
You and I are on the same page in terms of that.
And so you can bring people in when you can do that. Meetings don't always, and with the situation now with not having live meetings, that even further distance brothers away. And the frat has gotten where now it's so costly. I mean, you look at the insurance you have to pay, and all of this, that's a deterrent.
Yes,
and you want to know, you almost like have to get into the business of earning money to be in existence. When they talk about giving the black and white, and then taking all the money and giving it out. You need to almost be taking some of that money and to help keep it going, because you don't know how much longer you're going to have memberships that will be able to pay their insurance and all the other, financial responsibilities that they have.
So you have been a Kappa for 70?
Over 50 years.
Over 50 years.
I was in 59. So you add 41 to that, and then over 60 years.
With all that you know about Kappa Alpha Psi, would you make the same choice today?
Definitely.
Why?
Because I met some very nice people, some good brothers, and I've had a lot of good feelings to develop from the things that we've done in the fellowship among each other. And having contact when I came to town, Dr. Bryson, who's from Alabama State, he gave me the number of a couple of brothers who were here to make contact with. And so I made contact with these people, and they eased me into the system and introduced me to people, and certain things of that nature.
You mentioned this thing called Kings
in the Corner.
In the Corner. What is this?
Kings in the Corner is a group of brothers who have retired. And we meet once a month to play cards, the card game of Kings in the Corner, and we have lunch. And we fellowship with one another, contacts and what have you and all that. And as I look at the roster that I have going back to, I think 2003 or what have you, everybody on that list is dead but me.
Oh, wow. How far does the list go back?
Let's see. Get these glasses
Can
on.
I?
Yeah, you can cut.
I'm gonna try to zoom in back of you as you.
Okay. This is what I wrote. I'm pledging Kappa and my only love. I pledge Kappa. Kappa is my only love. When I go to sleep at night, it's the only thing I'm thinking of.
Did you write this?
Probably Kappa. They probably gave it to us. I don't want to take credit for it.
Okay. All right. So this is Kings of the Corner.
Kings in the Corner.
Kings in the Corner. Okay. And do you know how this organization came into being?
I don't know. Some of the older brothers got together and, just started meetings. We would meet at restaurants, and then we went to the frat house, and it even more so helped to galvanize. Here's a list of people who were Donald Spencer and the whole list of brothers who were members of Kings of the Corner.
Wow.
And what's the date on that?
The date on this is 1999.
Yeah, so it goes back 20-some years.
Wow. Okay. So, got Kings of the Corner,
Yeah,
and you all met. So this is on the side. This is in parallel with the
yes,
Cincinnati Alumni Chapter, but these are like the senior brothers
Yes.
within the Cincinnati Alumni
Yes,
Chapter
yes, yes.
that are retired, I guess,
yeah,
that are able to socialize as senior members
yeah,
and maintain that fellowship.
correct.
Okay, okay, wonderful. Now, I did I see a scroller manual over there?
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute, you got your scroll? No, you don't. No, you. Wait a minute. You got. Oh, I gotta record
I got
this.
some songs,
You got your original Scroller Club material,
correct.
and tell me what's in here.
We had the songs we had to sing, the things we had to memorize. The sweetheart song, just a list of things
The list of everything a scroller
had to do.
had to do, and this is back in the day when there was, sure enough for real, pledging, right?
Oh yeah, we had to carry a brick
Yeah.
and a hand and a brick, and you get it, that big knot would come up on your hand over a period of time. We were responsible for, each day we had to get signatures from 15 brothers.
15
big
brothers.
We
Okay.
had to have that every day. We would meet and we would have to go and sing the sweetheart song to our sweetheart at night.
Right.
Since I was married and lived on campus, I didn't have to do some of the things that the other undergrad brothers
Right.
like sleep under your bed or take you out to take you out to the
Okay.
cemetery, blind food, and,
Okay.
and bring you home.
And you tell me that I made it in '66, so '67. So a few years after you. I'm a Vietnam veteran, 4 years in the Army too, just like you, Air Force. So I know you went through hell.
No,
You didn't?
No, I did everything. I told them when I pledged, there was one other veteran, I said, I'll do anything you tell me to do, but don't touch me.
Really?
Yeah. They
Okay.
didn't. But also Dr. Bryson didn't allow physical abuse.
They didn't allow physical
He
abuse.
didn't. Now, something may have happened to some of the other younger brothers that I'm not aware of.
Right. But
nothing was
officially,
ever-
yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So he supervised the pledging program very
Nice. Okay.
carefully.
Okay.
And so they didn't do that. So we had to carry the brick. We had to get the signatures each day. We had to learn the material. We had to go sing it and doing all those kinds of things. We had to have a project where we had to complete the project,
Right.
some charitable project that we had to do. Once a year, the senior brothers would take the undergrad brothers to lunch. Once each person would sponsor.
Really?
Oh yeah, they would sponsor one student.
Okay.
And then take that group there, and it was just a wonderful thing. We would get together when we went to football games, and there was certain solidarity among the brothers and what have you. We had a lot of pride. We had some nice dressers. We had the girls.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Did y'all have step shows?
We had step shows. And
Tell me about step show. What would that be like?
step shows were like, we would get out, they would have on the quadrum, and they would get out there, and the girls would go, and then the alphas would get in there, then the Qs would come, and what have you. And then they would have, for the whole campus at one time, once a year, they would have Greek parade or
Right.
what have you. And so that was, there. And we had a diamond on the campus where the brothers.
Really?
Yeah, one of the buildings there was a diamond, and brothers would get around there and sing, to the girls, and they would just croon about,
Okay.
It was big,
Okay.
big to do. Yeah.
So, if you were talking to the brothers of today, what advice would you give them about Kappa and themselves?
It is a group of men who are bound to be leaders, contributors to society, contributions to race, our race, and what have you. It uplifts individuals in a way that some other groups may, but you know, I'm not a Mason, I'm a Catholic,
Right.
so we couldn't be a Mason or what have you. That was
Right.
the law and what have you. So it offers, you know, and it inspires you, it helps you to achieve in school. You know, you can go to brothers for assistance or help or what have you. It stressed the importance of education, which is important. It stressed the importance of making a contribution in life, you know, doing something for others besides yourselves, but also enjoying life within itself. you
Right.
know.
I'm gonna pause it. There's one more thing I gotta do, okay?
Okay.